Welcome back. I'm Gary Parr, and you are listening to Fiber Talk, the twice weekly podcast for the needlework artists. Our artist this week from the Aya Fiber Studios in Florida, Suzanne Connors. Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you.
We're going to have some fun because we're going to talk about Japanese dyeing, and you can tell if you're watching the video from the background, indigo, which is a fascinating technique, but all of it is fascinating. So we're going to learn all about that from Suzanne today. She has a huge studio down in Florida, and oh boy, here we go. Great stuff. So, Japanese, I mean, what you have four, three techniques that you use, three Japanese techniques, four techniques.
For Japanese textiles,
Yeah.
um, there's actually several different textiles, but predominantly, since I work with indigo, I concentrate mostly on shibori and katazome, and I'm just now going in, and rosome, which is a kind of a silk painting kind of batik, Japanese batik, and then there's different types of natural dyeing with Japanese. They use things like kakishibu, which is a persimmon dye, and but I mostly stick to indigo dyeing.
Yeah. Now, this shibori, that's the one that you use the most. What makes that work for you? What is it? What is it for? Because most people won't even know. And then what makes it the one that you turn to all the time?
Well, shibori is the resist dyeing, so
Okay.
it's creating resist in the fabric before you dye it. You can get your patterns by doing squeezing, scrunching, folding, clamping, and stitching. I work mostly with stitch shibori. That's my main function. So I get my patterns by stitching the cloth and then pulling it tightly and creating a resist before I dye it.
Okay. Wow. How do you get to doing these Japanese techniques? Is it something you learn from your mother or a friend, or how?
No, gosh, I started off with just like basic dyeing with like tie dye, Jerry Garcia type tie
Okay.
dye with bright wild colors. And then I went and took an indigo workshop in Asheville with Catherine Ellis, and I was just blown away by indigo. Um, Although I do have to say, when I left that class, because all the people in the class, there's a whole science to making indigo, and all the people in the class were kind of scientific.
Oh.
Um, and and I'm not a chemistry person. I liked art and you know architecture and things like that. So it was a little over my head, and I left that workshop and I said, "Screw this! I'm never going to touch that stuff." Um, And I got back to my house where I lived in North Carolina at that time, and I had my three little mini vats that we made in the class, and I just stuck them in the storage unit. And then finally, a friend of mine called me and she said, why not go take a shibori class with me in Raleigh? And so I said, no, I don't think so. I don't. She said, we're going to dye with indigo. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. She said, oh, come on, you'll like it. You'll love it. So I went and took that class, and it was with a different instructor. And the class didn't focus as much on the indigo as it did on the shibori. And I was hooked.
Oh.
I left there and I was hooked. And then I did some trips to Japan, and because my background is in architecture, you know, I I love the entire craftsman movement.
Yeah.
Um, and so much of Japanese craft aligns with that, the workmanship and the quality of the work. And I just really like these ancient traditional techniques.
Yeah.
They're actually dying out in Japan.
Yeah. Now, and that was something I wondered about because in Japanese embroidery, it's very carefully, from what I understand, very carefully follows the old practices. You must do it this way, very strict. Do we have that same thing with Japanese dyeing techniques? I mean, do we stay very much to the old traditions?
Yeah, we do. We stick pretty much to the traditions of even using traditional Japanese cloth.
Oh,
We actually even have a Japanese Sashiko artist who comes here and teaches Sashiko in the studio.
excellent.
And we've gone to visit his mother's studio in Takayama in Japan um, to learn more. And since that's also done on indigo dyed fabric, it's another big thing that I'm really interested in now too.
Perfect fit. Yeah, actually, Sashiko is high on my list of the next technique to learn because that's fascinating how that gets done. The patterns that people get with just real simple stitching. So yeah, yeah.
But if you watch those authentic dyers, the way they do it, I mean, they just kind of move their hand like this, and their stitching is so fast they don't even think about it, and it's a very precise way of holding the needle. The
Oh,
people that just go in and out and in and out and in and out, the traditional Japanese stitchers, they frown on that.
really? Oh, now I'm gonna have
Yeah.
to I'm gonna have to learn about that because I was just gonna be the in and out person.
Oh no, I can give you the name of the guy to go see or
Oh,
talk
please,
to.
please do, because
Yeah,
yeah, that sounds like a challenge right there. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. But so most of my patterns are all done with stitches. And I do the old in and out, because
Oh,
I've been doing it too long. You can't teach an old dog new tricks sometimes.
right.
And most of my stitching is just embellishment on the end of my projects.
Okay. Uh huh. So you get dragged to this class, and the and the instructor. So the art thing takes over, and it gets you past the chemistry of indigo.
Yeah, and I fell in love with it. It was just wonderful. Being an architect or a student of architecture, I love the layout.
Mm-hmm.
And with stitch shibori, there is a lot of layout, and you lay it all out. I mean, you would be surprised. This piece right here, it's about 7 foot long and twice as wide as this. I mean, there's over a month of stitching in that,
Wow.
and with
Holy
all the
smokes.
layout. Yeah.
So
So
the dyeing almost becomes just a finishing off process then. All the prep
well,
work.
yeah, yeah, and then even the dyeing is slow. It's We call this slow fiber. It's slow because to get these really deep dark blues like this, you might have to dye that piece 10 times.
Yeah, I watched one of your videos, and it was one where you were talking about doing it multiple times, and I did not know that. I thought indigo was deep right out of the gate, but you have to keep hitting it.
Yeah, that you can kind of get your depth of color by the number of dips that you do. The dyers in Japan all strive for that deep, dark, almost black blue.
Uh huh.
But there's so many shades. A really good indigo dyer will keep several vats, and each vat will be older because as you dye a piece, you take dye out, so that vat gets weaker and weaker until it finally exhausts. So a good dyer will, or a traditional dyer may have several vats in their studio in different colors and different levels of blues that they achieve.
Oh, okay. Oh, fascinating. So
It's
did
a slow process. I think
yeah.
sometimes when people come here to the studio to take a class, um, oh my God, they come bring in an army of fabric, and I think they think they're going to leave with the whole new wardrobe or pieces of fabric, to take home for their quilts and stuff.
No, doesn't happen that way, huh?
No.
Yeah. Do do you is just about all of the dyeing that you do for yourself all indigo? I mean, is that just about all you do, or do you try some other things?
Some other things too. I am really getting into a lot of mixed media right now
Okay.
and blending traditional things with more contemporary things. I like stencil cutting and catazome rice paste resist. But still indigo dyed. Um, I mean, I know how to do a lot of different techniques, but I just keep getting drawn back into indigo.
She's addicted. She can't help it.
Yeah, I'm addicted.
What makes you give up architect and end up running a dyeing studio?
Well, I went to school to be an architect, and I never really practiced as an architect.
Uh huh.
I did work in construction management, and on the interior side. So I always worked with fabrics and the interior architecture on big projects. And then in 2008, um, when the construction industry kind of went downhill, I
Yeah.
lost my job and got sent back home to North Carolina, where I was living at the time. And that's when I started the Aya Fiber Studio. Um, the my the Aya symbol is actually fern, a fern leaf, and it means it's kind of like this,
Oh,
and
okay.
it means one who recreates himself.
Oh, all right.
So the Aya word and symbolism was meant when I recreated myself from a into a full time artist.
Yeah. Well, I remember 2008. I had a 50-year career editing trade magazines, and at the time, I was editing an architectural magazine. And boy, when that recession hit and the construction shut down, oh my, we were at the verge of out of business almost overnight because we counted on advertising for our revenue. And yeah,
Right. And I was working in the Caribbean at the time, and they just called us into the office one day. They said, "All Americans come to the office." We got to the office and they said, "What? You guys are going home. You're done."
whoa,
So we
whoa,
got sent back home.
oh, that's tough. Yeah. We had a owner who, out of his own pocket, kept us going through all that. I'll never forget that. He's passed away now, but yeah, he kept us going, and he didn't have to do that. He could have shut it down, but yeah, that was tough. Yeah, because I forget what the statistic was, but almost overnight, the number of architectural projects that got shut down just cold was just astounding. Yeah, and yeah, it was not pretty. So you get sent
No.
home. So you get sent home. Is that then? That's when uh, Aya comes in and reinventing yourself. Did you? Is that when you started the studio?
Yeah. Well, I had actually um, bought a small mill house in a textile mill village called Saxapahaw, North Carolina.
Okay.
Um, and the company I was working for at the time was based out of Chapel Hill, and I had built this little studio on the property, and it was to become my full time work, my working studio space,
Uh huh.
and yeah, so I kind of got delayed. I mean, waylaid then because I was also the president of a artist cooperative,
Oh.
and that was kind of going belly up. And since the lease was for that building was in my name, I ended up becoming a gallery owner.
Oh.
So I was a full time working artist, and I owned an art gallery. And
Holy smokes.
yeah, it was a fun time of life,
Yeah.
you know.
So when you an art gallery, what kind of art were you doing? The more traditional painting, drawing type stuff?
Yeah, I was representing a bunch of mid-career artists in North Carolina, and I also had a large fiber area, and traditional North Carolina craft, pottery and woodworking and textiles, and then painters. And then a lot of the painters were more abstract, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it was fun. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Well, the Asheville area, I mean, that is just loaded with artists of all types there. That whole area is, um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's packed. Is your the studio you have in North Carolina? How far is that from Asheville?
We're about 2 hours.
Oh, okay, so a distance then. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Well, that's easy to do in North Carolina anyway.
Yeah, it is.
So what migrates you then toward? Well, I mean, you take the class, the Indigo class that you said you'd never do again, and now it's all you do. But what is it about textile art instead of painting that draws you in?
Um, I've always been love fabrics.
Uh huh.
I started sewing when I was just a kid. Um, I did a lot of embroidery work and just sewing. I made a lot of clothes. And when I started making textiles, I started making wearable art from the clothing that I made.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Um, and I've just always liked. I like to be able to feel it, the hand of the fabric, the texture. I love fabrics with textures, and I
Yeah.
like the fact that with shibori, I can create texture in the fabric with the stitching.
Uh huh. Yeah. So that was the connection early on, was to create your own fabrics to make clothes with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. The I'm not buying it from the store. I'll make my own. Thank you very much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but now I don't really have. I mean, I'm so involved now with the business side of things that my time making is not as
Yeah.
much as it used to be.
Yeah. I think that happens to all designers. Yeah. The chance to actually create and move things forward just kind of disappears because you got a business to run. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So now the studio you're at now in Stuart, Florida, is your what, your fourth or fifth studio?
Let's see. I moved from Saxpahaw back to Florida, and I actually moved the whole gallery to Florida. And then,
Jeez.
yeah, and that's a kind of a funny story because I got involved with one of our local community redevelopment agencies, where they were trying to bring this area down by West Palm Beach back.
Mm-hmm.
And I opened this beautiful gallery, brought like the work of like 65 artists from North Carolina with me.
Oh,
Um, got opened up and got broken into and robbed 7 times in the first 6 months,
in six
and said
months?
6 months, and said, that's it. This is not what I'm in this business for.
Right.
So I closed that. I went, I was living down in Port Salerno area of Martin County then, and we had this little place down on the waterfront called the Fish House Art Center.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just over there one day walking, having lunch, and this small studio space was open. So I rented it, and it was the smallest studio they had in the place. Um, and then I grew from there, from the small studio to having two spaces in the fish house, then to having moving into a very large space in the fish house. And I stayed there through COVID. Um, and really loved it down there. But then right after COVID, just about the week that we were getting ready to reopen, and or officially reopen because we were open the whole time,
Yeah.
um, got news that the building had been sold.
Oh
and I
no.
had to find a new space and went out in like a mad dash to find a space that could accommodate what I needed. And then found this space in Stewart. Um, yeah, so now the space I'm doing in North Carolina will be the fifth studio space.
Wow. Well, from the pictures, the place in Stewart, it looks like that is spacious and absolutely fully equipped for classes and for your own artwork. That looks like an impressive spot.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fully built out fiber studio. I mean, we have, stainless steel sinks, multiple sinks, large work tables, a sewing area, ironing boards, large pots, lots of ways to cook and heat your dyes. I've got a door that opens out to the back, and there's a covered area where we can cook outside and dye fabrics outside and hang our stuff on the line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's pretty equipped.
Yeah. Is this really for you and the workshops you do in classes the ideal
It's
place? I mean, is it
I could actually use more space here. It's
okay?
and I'm very thankful that my space planning skills come into play. I mean, even like this week, yesterday, my studio's a mess right now. Um, I bought this large fabric rack when Joann's went out of business.
Oh,
And before I went up to North Carolina, I just had them bring it here and we left it in the middle of the floor. Well, I had no idea what I was going to do with it because there's not an available space for a large rack like that. And that's what's behind me here.
oh,
I did find a spot for it. It'll hold about 20 rolls of fabric. And
oof.
I had to move everything around yesterday and to try to find space to fit it into.
But you go through that much fabric that having something like that is very useful.
Well, I have a lot of fabric. I guess I'm like most textile artists. I'm a hoarder.
Yeah.
I have hordes of fabrics in these large armoires that have probably not seen the light of day for the last 4 years. A lot I brought back from Japan, things I bought, but now that I'm going to put it all out and sell it and let the students buy it,
Uh-huh.
not doing me any good jammed in the closets.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we all have that problem. Yeah. We got a room full of stuff and never going to use all of it. So yeah, you might as well do something with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so but it's really equipped. The teachers who come here and the students, they all love it. Most of my teachers I bring in are um, renowned artists from all over the country or the
Mm-hmm.
world for that matter. Um, and the students travel here from all across the globe to come take classes and
Yeah.
workshops with these teachers.
Yeah. So that's your format then is to bring in teachers and students to have classes as opposed to you teaching all the classes.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
mean, the stuff I teach, like I teach my shibori classes. I teach about one class a month.
Okay.
I do a lot of, then I'll do a 3 day class. Then I'll do a week long class. Um, so I'll do these classes where I teach shibori and I teach mostly the Japanese textiles part of things and the things that have to do with the indigo. But the other teachers who come teach the Sashiko and the surface design classes and encaustics and book making and paper making and just
Yeah.
whatever we can continue to try to, I try to create new classes based upon the skills that previous students have already taken.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And we're technique driven. We're not like you're not going to come here and leave and make a thing.
Yeah.
So you're not going to come and make a thing. You're going to come and learn techniques, and they're kind of like master classes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Um, and we have small classes. The max is 10 people in the studio, and we've been averaging, 8 to 10, and that gives the teachers, you get a lot of time with the teachers and individualized, and everybody gets, half of a huge table to work on. And
Okay. Yeah. What does your demographic look like? Is it mostly people our age, or are you getting more younger people, or how is that playing out for you?
no, we're not getting more younger people. That's the challenge right now, is what to do to bring younger people into textiles and fiber art. Um, I would say that it is people our age, and I'm finding that we're aging out. A lot of people have taken all the classes with the teachers that they want to take.
Uh
They don't want to travel as much any longer. Um, they're just getting older. Their hands don't work like they used to.
yeah.
Um, yeah, so it is. It's a challenge. The demographics. I mean, the artists, and I sat on the board for SPIN, which is Silk Painters International, and then I was a regional surface design um, representative. And even in those groups, we always discuss what can we do to bring younger people in,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to figure. And the younger people, they don't want they don't want to take the time to learn the techniques.
Yeah.
They want instant gratification. They want to make a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't have the basic skills that we had, because they didn't have to take home economics in the seventh grade and make that,
Yep.
ugly dress
Yep.
and or an apron. They Some of them, I'm finding, don't even know how to sew a button on, or when we do shiborium, it's just do these rows of running stitches.
Don't know what that
I,
is.
I'm blown away by how many can't even thread a needle.
Yeah. No, that's a major drawback. Yeah. No, I mean, you and I are both from the home ec days. I still have the quilt I made in home ec.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you learned how to do those things. Learned what happens when you turn on a sewing machine and get your fingers out of the way, and how to sew a semi-straight line, and yeah, all those things, and they come useful throughout life. And people just, yeah, these kids today get cheated out of it. It's a shame. Um,
Well, for so long, textiles was seen as women's work.
right, right,
It was just something women did, and um, it wasn't really looked at as an artistic function.
yeah, yeah.
I'm
That's
pretty excited. Um, our service design group here that meets out of the studio, we have an exhibit opening this weekend,
uh,
contemporary fiber, downtown Stewart. For me, it's like major satisfaction, because I have tried to get the galleries and places in Martin County to show fiber since I moved here, and
uh,
they've never taken it seriously. And this is a real serious fiber exhibit that's going to be shown, and it's juried with some really well-known invited artists.
oh, that's great. That's great. Yeah, I slowly see the mindset of women's work changing, and people coming to appreciate the art, textile art, as a true art form. That it doesn't always have to be painting and uh, pen and ink drawings and sculpting. That it really is an art form. And we see it around the world. In Australia, they really, from what the people I've talked to, they get it. There's an awful lot of appreciation for textile arts there. Europe, I don't see it much at all. And in the U.S., you get some progress. Yeah, it's not women's work; it's art. It's
It is, and I mean, even some of the techniques that are considered old and ancient, they're making comeback,
mm-hmm,
and people want to learn how to use them. But that's the problem, is that they're not things you learn how to do automatically.
right, right,
They take practice, and the longer you do them, the faster you get and the better your skill gets.
yeah. Oh yeah, and I mean, just looking at your art, the Japanese techniques, clearly, just looking at the art, they're rather involved and uh, takes some time to develop enough skill to really be proficient and effective at it. I'm sure.
Yeah. Um, I don't think you could ever, I don't think that you ever really know it all. I mean, there's like, I have people who come and take my 1 day shibori class many, many, many times because you can do something different. There's literally thousands of patterns that you can learn how to
Mm-hmm.
make. And
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do, I've been fighting anything online because I don't like online teaching, but I think I'm going to do a 8 week, um, one pattern a week kind of thing
Uh huh.
and do that.
Yeah. Yeah. These days, it's almost hard, almost difficult to avoid. You just kind of feel pressured to do it, and if you want, and if you want to reach young people, that's going to be the way to do it. You gotta go where they're at, and they're on YouTube and TikTok and all those things. Yeah.
It is, but there's, I think the reason I fight teaching online is because, with these shibori techniques, it's a whole lot to do with like doing your stitches and then pulling them and getting them really, really tight.
Mm-hmm.
And in a class situation, I can walk up behind somebody and I can say, if you pull that a little bit tighter, you're going to get good results.
Uh huh.
But if they do it at home and they do it online, there's nobody going to be able to see how tight they have it after they've spent, hours stitching it.
Yeah.
There's nobody that's going to be able to say, if you pull that just a little bit tighter, or maybe if you soak your piece in water for a half an hour before you do that final pull, you'll get it really, really tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you just don't have that. And then there's the camaraderie in the community. I think that that's really important.
Yeah.
I think that with so much online, my 20-year-old grandson lives with me, and he'd stay in his room online all the time, and I worry that he's not interacting with people.
Yeah.
And they don't even seem to be interested in going out and doing much. They're content to just be like a hermit in their room. Um, and I think that when you come to an in-person class, um, online you have one perspective of yourself, but when you come to an in-person class, you get a different perspective of yourself because you get the perspective that the other people see, and maybe that person across the table is going to show you something that is going to change your life.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. Sure. Oh yeah.
and
No. No. It'll
yeah,
be
and
it'll be interesting in a few years after people have been able to study and some time has gone by the impact of the pandemic on social interaction and because we really had a long stretch there where we had to entertain ourselves online and through a screen and shaking that off is difficult and yeah the young people they don't know any different and yeah it's
it was, yeah, I mean, how many times I know people, you go to get online and you're doing your thing with your, whatever you have to do, your marketing or whatever, and then you get a little notice from Pinterest and it goes, "This is picked for you." The next thing you know, you've gone to Pinterest and you've, like, hours later, you're
yep
still on Pinterest and you're looking at pictures and your whole creative day is just blown away. So
yep
you haven't gotten much done during it.
yep oh yeah I know I've fallen into that trap. Well, it's like for me, it's like the old days when you looked up a word in the dictionary, and a half hour later, after you've read the definitions of 15 other words, you finally get back to what you were doing. Yeah, because yeah, it's a whole new world. Yeah, yeah. So
I mean,
the
I think technology is important, but I
uh,
think that it using technology can't use your hands for you.
right. Well, and I think we're seeing. I mean, the pandemic brought out needlework or put needlework in the hands of a lot of young people. Uh, cross stitching mainly, uh, because at some point, as one friend once said, my kids reached the end of the internet. They needed something else to do, and yeah, you get to a point where I'm tired of sitting in front of a screen. I want to do something, and we've seen needlework, the excitement of that, particularly with young people, carry through after the pandemic. But the trick is to keep it going and to keep them addicted and not let life get in the way and all those things. So yeah.
I did my first cross stitch sampler in Girl Scouts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Huh.
I did my first cross stitch sampler in Girl Scouts, which would have been maybe fourth or fifth grade.
Okay. Yep.
I mean, it probably, if I looked at it right now, wasn't a thing of beauty, but we didn't have any internet or we didn't have cell
Right.
phones.
Yep.
And so if you wanted to just go up in your room and shut the door and not be with the rest of your family, you just went up and found a project to work on.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What students that take your classes, when they dye fabric, what do they use it for? Are most of them doing it just for the art form, or are they doing it then to convert to clothing or some other object?
Well, I ask myself that all the time because I have people who come here a lot and take classes and come here to dye, and I've never seen anything they've done with it. Um, but some of them are quilters.
Okay.
Sometimes they come and they will make quilts. Some make scarves or yardage. A lot dye scarves. That's a big one. Napkins, home things for the home, fabric to make pillows, upholstery. And I like to make just wall art.
Okay. All
That's
right.
my new. That's I guess my new thing is I
Yeah.
do these large wall art pieces and I combine them with macrame and on large pieces of driftwood and dyed fabric and stitching and a little bit of everything.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Because I mean, a lot of the stuff that I've seen on your website and the pictures you sent me, I mean, just to take that piece of cloth and hang it on a wall is more than sufficient in terms of art. I mean, it's just beautiful stuff. And yeah, I could see, yeah, just I'm going to go dye a piece of fabric and put it in a frame and be done with it. Yeah.
Well, I've made a big change. I'm trying to use all authentic products in my classes. So I've been ordering um, Japanese Tenagwai fabric from Japan, which is a 14-inch wide cotton, which is kimono width.
Oh, okay.
So if you, it comes by the meter. It's sometimes sold in like 11 yard meters, and 1 meter in Japan is called a tenagwai, and it can be used. In Japan, they have no garbage cans in the bathrooms or on the streets. So everybody carries these 1 meter long pieces. Oh, like here's one. It's just 1 meter.
Uh huh.
And they fold it up and they put it in their bag and they carry it. And this is their hand towel for the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's called a tinagwite. But I also sell these little like rods that you can put one at the top and one at the bottom, and they sometimes will use them to hang on the wall.
Oh.
So it's a multi-purpose thing. It can be a towel or it can be a piece of art.
So that's interesting. So then they're not constantly throwing away napkins and paper towels and all those things. You just carry
Right.
that and go home and wash it at night or throw it in the wash or whatever.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I also lead people on textile tours to Japan,
Uh,
and we go and do all kinds of workshops while we're in Japan and visit different textile factories and artisans, and I love it there.
yeah. Uh, is that the old traditional techniques are kept and supported and practiced in Japan extensively, or is that dying off?
It's dying off. I mean, it was like it used to be that it would be families, and then the father would teach the son, and then he
Mm-hmm.
would teach his son, and he would teach his son. But the young people in Japan, they don't want to do it anymore. I have noticed since COVID, though, during COVID, I think a lot of the kids who moved from the countryside into the city and became the factory men, um, I think they went back to their villages
Mm.
and they started working with their hands. So I've noticed when I went in 2019,
Mm-hmm.
there were very few places you could go. And now there's more studios and there's more artisans all over the country. And you can find more places
Yeah.
to learn about these techniques and
Oh,
traditions.
good. Good. I hate to see all that old stuff die off and then be lost forever to history. That's,
I know it's really sad. And it's
yeah.
so neat because, like, we went on this last trip I was in the spring, and there was a guy. His mother had made all these little paper dioramas, and she documented every single type of thing that they do in Japan. I mean, she documented indigo dyeing and katazome and making sake and growing rice. She made these dioramas and festivals. She didn't start doing it till she was 60 years old,
Mm.
and she had passed away. And um, our shibori instructor guide took us out to her son's place, and he took us in and showed us, and there was so much pride as he was explaining this stuff his mother did,
Oh,
and he was just so excited. He had built this whole museum of her stuff,
really?
and
Oh,
hardly nobody knows it's there. So
oh,
he was just so full of pride, and he had to be 80. So I can't imagine how old his mother was.
yeah,
She must
yeah,
have been really old.
yeah. That's great. I love when people keep that stuff going. What is the Japanese textile dyeing world look like in the States? Do we have very many studios across the country, or are you one of the few?
I think I'm one of the few that specialize in that's open to the public.
Okay.
I think I know lots of good shibori artists in Texas and in South Carolina and across the country. And I meet like a lot of the women who come here to take workshops. They're pretty accomplished dyers already. They just come to be around other people
Oh, okay.
and and learn more about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
That's
key
neat.
is you got to keep adding new things to bring them back.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure it gets to be quite a challenge after a while. Yeah, the next
Yeah,
schedule of classes has to have some fresh stuff in there.
a little
Yeah.
bit of fresh stuff. Yep.
Now you have just going through your website. You have quite an extensive number of classes in any given year, and I assume you're planning those a year or more ahead of time.
Yeah, I'm working on 2027 right now.
Wow. Yeah. How many classes a year do you run on average?
I think this about 40.
40. Wow. So you've got people in and
About
out all year long then.
about 40. Traditionally I'm not back from North Carolina. I just started going to North Carolina for the summer a couple years ago because it's really dead here in Florida in the summertime, or
Yeah.
it can be. And I actually teach at other venues. So I go to North Carolina and then I go teach at other venues where they have their season in the summertime.
Okay.
And so our season here is wintertime.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of snowbirds come here that want to escape the cold
Yeah.
because the weather's so nice here. Um, so it can be kind of slow from September through December.
Uh-huh.
And I'll run, a lot of my one day classes have a lot of open studio time in the studio for locals to come just work in the studio. Um, and then we really start going in full swing come the 1st of January.
Okay.
And so most of the classes range from 1 day to 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually in the summertime, I do a month-long retreat up in the mountains.
Oh, okay.
And then have my Japan tours.
Yeah. So your busy time is January through what, June, before it gets too hot?
January through June.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And that's
yeah.
then the place is hopping all the time, huh?
Oh, it's like the doors are open, one group in, one group out,
Yeah.
one group in, one group out.
That's got to be exciting. What the people who can just drop in, how do you structure that so that local people can just come in and dye things? And is that a membership thing that they do? Is it a scheduled set of hours? How does that work?
Well, I've got memberships for locals artists to join, but I also have it on my website as open studio time, and they're in 4-hour blocks,
Okay.
so it's a half day blocks. And so usually I'll go through the schedule and I'll schedule those open studio days on days between workshops.
Mm.
So there tend to be a lot more of them pre-season and after season.
Uh-huh.
Now I'm trying to figure out ways. So now I'm going to start adding some evening stuff and some weekend stuff because I think that younger people would be interested in stuff doesn't take as much of a time commitment.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But the open studio times are pretty much, people come in and they each get one table in the studio and they can work on whatever they want to work on.
I bet that gets to be a fun community.
That's sometimes we call those play days.
Okay.
And those are the days that are really fun because you'll have one person at the table she's doing deconstructed screen printing. Another one sitting at the side, maybe she's doing some stitching. Somebody's doing shibori out in the back dyeing. Then everybody stops and eats lunch. There's always food involved.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah.
There's
Why
always
not?
food involved. So, yeah, those work out real good. And some people take advantage of it quite a bit. And then, I'll also do private classes. So if somebody calls and wants a private class, I usually will try to look at an open studio day nobody's booked anything on and try to do a private class that day.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever get any time to do your own thing?
Very rarely.
Yeah. The long pause gave me the answer to the question. Yeah, very rarely. Yeah.
On open studio days, those are the days I can work, but I'm really messy. Because I will start something and work on it and then put it away to clean up for the class. And then I might forget it's there.
Oh.
And then when I have those days, I just start pulling stuff out. So if I'm in here by myself, I may have stuff on every table and on the design walls and on every table, trying to decide. I have a huge container of UFOs.
Okay. All right. That's all right. Yeah. Okay. So when you're in there by yourself, after all, it is your space. You just fill it up, huh? That's great.
Correct.
That's
Correct.
great. So what's the next thing coming up? We're here in early September. So we're coming into a quiet period, and then
Um, I have I have a shibori class next week. I have lots of open studio days this month. We have our exhibit at the courthouse. Then going into October, I actually have a guest artist coming from California, Annalisa Hedstrom, and she's doing a class, and she's going to be a speaker at our exhibit. And then lots of open studio time. And then
mhm.
in November, I have a Catazome class. And then I won't get going until after, then January, it just kicks in right after the holidays, full
Yeah.
swing.
So because of all this, then you get a nice break during the holidays. Then.
Yeah, I get a pretty nice break during the
Yeah.
holidays. I'll head back up to North Carolina one more time um, to winterize, probably around Thanksgiving.
Uh-huh.
And to see how my little studio house is coming along because
Yeah.
they're just started working on it after I left.
Yeah. So talk about that. What are you going to do in North Carolina with that studio?
Well, so my plan is my plan is to eventually sell this studio here in Stewart, and I'm kind of rebranding myself um, and calling it myself the Izomi Studio Suzanne Connors, which is going to be my own personal artwork. Um, Retreats and my teaching in other places.
Oh, okay. Uh-huh.
So the studio in North Carolina is going to be, I'm going to do what they call vacation with an artist,
Oh.
where people can come up there and stay for a private immersion.
Uh-huh.
And I'll do some summer retreats and I'll teach offsite and I will do more textile tours.
Oh, okay. All right. Just shift the business to a different look then. Yeah.
To a different look because I think that while I do the Japanese textiles here, that's me.
Mhm.
So, I mean, a new owner could hire me to come do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
but unless, ideally an artist will buy the studio, somebody who
Mhm.
wants to showcase their own teaching and their own work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't always happen that way and
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're completely set up for really any form of art. Um yeah, really any form of art there. I mean, you got a wet area and sewing area and big tables and space and lighting and yeah, it's um
it's an advantage because it's fully built out. I mean, that's a
right.
lot of money right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Excellent. All
And a
right.
lot of and it's all stocked.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, Suzanne, thanks so much. Wow, what a fascinating business, and I love the techniques and the results. It's just gorgeous work. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And thanks to everyone for listening. It's Suzanne Connors, ayafiberstudio.com. So check it out if you want to see some beautiful indigo artwork. It's stunning stuff. Thanks to everyone for listening.